Hello, this is Colleen Morley for CMSA Chicago. Welcome to CMSA Chicago Member Spotlight, our informational series by members about members discussing the various specialties in case management. Our guest today is Debra Anderson, RN BS CCM. Debra is clinical case manager for Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago. She joined the case management department in April of 2001, and this is where her case management journey began. Debra became the interim director of case management in April of 2008 and accepted the position as director in September of 2008. But after 8 years in leadership, Debra decided to return to what she loved the most, and that's frontline case management. Debra says, as a dedicated clinical case manager, it is extremely rewarding to engage with my patients and their families every day to include them in developing a care plan unique to their child. I enjoyed working directly with the multidisciplinary team because it truly takes a community of professionals to complete the puzzle for safe discharges. Debra, along with Kim Bunag, I'm hoping I'm not butchering her name, and Kathy Moriarty published an article this year called Doing the Impossible in Pediatric Case Management, which appears in CMSA Today, Issue 5, 2020. Debra joined CMSA in 2014 and was elected to serve as a board member for CMSA Chicago in August of 2020. Welcome, Debra. Thank you so much for joining me today. And what a great bio. I learned so much from just reading that bio about you. But can you tell me a little bit more about yourself, your career path, and what led you to the role that you're in today?
So I am married. I have two children and I have two lovely grandchildren. I am a member of the board member. I'm a board member and a choir director and a Sunday school superintendent at my church. I love singing, dancing, playing bingo, and word games. As a little girl, I always wanted to help people, and I used to always gather all the kids on the block and take care of them. So at an early age, I knew I wanted to be either a teacher or a nurse. And when I was in high school, by my junior year, I decided to be a nurse. And so at that time, I didn't go to nursing school right after high school. I had a family, so my nursing career did not start until later in life. At that time, I was working a day job and I went to school at night to do all my prereqs. And Lord, there were a lot of prereqs to do. So I just took my time and did it over a couple of years. And then I got accepted in the nursing program. Once I got accepted in the program, I did quit my job just to focus on my career. And it took a while and it was not easy. Uh, I had to study real hard to get where I am today. But I was determined to achieve my goal. One of the summers, I signed up for a nursing internship program at Children Memorial Hospital. And that's when I decided I was going to be a pediatric nurse. Many people kept telling me that no, Deborah, you cannot be a pediatric nurse. You have to do adult nursing first. You have to do med surge first. And I just thought that was crazy. So I kept telling them, no, I'm going to be a pediatric nurse. I'm not going to be med surge nurse. I'm not going to be an adult nurse. And so I stayed focused on my goal to be a pediatric nurse. After I passed my nursing exam, I went directly to Children Memorial Hospital HR and applied for a position. I also applied at Laura Beta Children's Hospital, keeping my focus on pediatrics. Laura Beta was not hiring new grads at the time, but Children Memorial Hospital was. So I remember I never got a call from HR, and then back then they had a phone line you can call and listen to all the positions they had. They had 14 positions. And so I was saying, one of those positions have my name on it. So I actually called the director to the floor where I did the internship. And I had to remind her, I said, you remember, I was one of those students and you promised us that you would provide a position for us if we were interested. I'm interested. And one of those jobs have my name on it. She said, oh, Deborah, I just feel my last position. I'm going to pass you on to another director. And I said, that'll be fine. She did pass me on. That director called me up. I went on an interview and I've been working at what is now Laurie Children's Hospital, formerly Children Memorial Hospital, for 23 years. I did 4 years of night shift. And after 4 years, I was ready to go to day shift. But I wanted to do something different. And there was a position in case management. And this is how my case management journey began.
That is an awesome story. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So, as a pediatric case manager, what does a workday look like for you?
So a typical day for me, I usually start between 8:30 and 9 o'clock in the morning. Walking into the office, I'm turning on the computer, I'm activating my pager and my vote phone that we carry around. And on some days, the physicians and the APNs are meeting me at the door when I come in. So they can talk about today's discharges. I work on a 40-bed unit in Peds ICU, and I cover half the unit. Pre-COVID times, I attended daily rounds with my medical team. But now, because there's a limited amount of people that should attend rounds, I follow up with my team immediately after rounds. So I am responsible for meeting with my families to do an assessment, to identify discharge needs, any issues or problems they may have already with their current discharge nursing or equipment they may have at home. I am responsible for arranging any care conferences. I do hospital to hospital transfers, arrange transportation, whether it's from lorries to another facility or lorries to home. I also coordinate private duty nursing and skilled nursing visits for our patients and families. I make referrals to durable equipment companies, and I also ensure that the deliveries are made prior to discharge. I also make follow-up appointments. It could be with their PCP or it could be with a specialist. And I also submit medication prior authorizations to insurance companies. I could have up to 4 to 5 medically complex patients within 1 week. So this is why it's so important for us to be proactive and not reactive in our role, and also to discharge stars on a mission.
Absolutely. And that's an old axiom right from nursing school. I remember on day one of my nursing school, my first instructor stood up and said, discharge planning begins on day one. Know it, live it, love it. And I was like, yes, ma'am, whatever you say. So, is there anything that really stands out about what you enjoy the most about the work that you do? What are the biggest rewards being a pediatric case manager?
So what I enjoy the most about my job is the kids. Just to see the smiles on their faces when I walk into the room, and I'm the person that's going to get them ready to go home. I'm not there to poke them. I'm not there to give them any medications. I'm only there to get them ready to leave this environment and go to the environment that they are most familiar with, the environment that they miss, the environment where they are safe at. So that's one of the enjoyment of my job. Secondly, I love the autonomy that we as case managers have. I love working with my medical team and the disciplinary team and how they respect, because we are able to make decisions and make recommendations, and they respect us for that.
Wonderful. Is there something that surprised you about the role when you took over as case manager? You transitioned from a pediatric nurse to a pediatric case manager. What was the biggest surprise that came to you as you made that transition?
So when I first went into that role, I knew nothing about case management. Um, I thought case management only ordered net machines. And because I remember leaving messages at night for the case manager, oh, 1604 needs a nebulizer. And so I thought that's all she did. And so to my surprise is I had to not only do order equipment, but I had to talk with the insurance company, provide insurance clinical notes, tell them why the patient was here, what we were doing for the patient, what the patient needed post discharge. And I think one of the biggest surprise was I wasn't expecting to have that level of stress in my life. Bedside nurse, as a nurse, we have that level of stress. But in case management, you still have a certain level of stress because you are the coordinator of putting all the pieces together, making sure everything is tied up in a red bow when you send that child home, only 2 days later for the child to come back as a readmission.
Absolutely. So, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that you face on a daily basis?
So I think um, uh, me, along with all my colleagues, if you ask us that, our biggest challenge is dealing and working with insurance companies. And I say that because insurance companies, we're there, we see the patient. Insurance company are not. So we have to paint a picture for the insurance company to see what we see. And sometimes we can paint that picture and they still don't understand why my child needs to go home, my patient needs to go home with a ventilator and all this supplies, and why my patient needs private duty nursing. I've had so many insurance companies say this is custodial care. No, this is not custodial care. We have families who have patients who goes home with a trach and a ventilator. They need 24-hour care and maintenance of their airway, whether it's their parents or some help in the home. And most of our parents work every day. So they have to go to work. So they need help while they're at work. They have to come home and sleep. So it is really a challenge to get insurance companies to understand the medical needs of a medical complex patient. I, you know, you would wonder how an insurance company can deny anything that is medically necessary for discharge and to prevent a readmission.
So that being said, you talk about how it's difficult to paint that picture, and you paint the picture, and it's still not being communicated as effectively as you'd hoped. What skills do you think are most important for somebody who's interested in a job like yours?
So first of all, we are nurses. So we don't leave our critical thinking skills behind. We bring that into this role as well. That is crucial. We need to know the medical side of the patient, what's going on, to be able to communicate. So that's another skills. You have to be able to communicate verbally and written communication effectively. That's what's going to help you to get approvals for that medical need, prior authorizations for medication, being able to have the critical thinking skills and the written and verbal skills. I think you also need to be have people skills. You can win over a DME company and say, I need you to do something that you normally don't do. I need this delivered here the next day. So you need to be able to work with people in the community. You need to be able to work with the patients and the families. You need to have skills to listen. That is so important.
I agree with you 100% there. It's that communication, that vital back and forth to, be able to explain to people what the total need is and how instrumental their part of it is, and to get it to move forward. So what are some big projects you're working on now, or that you finished up in the last 6 months? We talked a little bit about your article in your opening intro. Can you give me a little bit more about what that fabulous article is about?
First of all, I want to tell you about the project that I'm actually working on. When I saw this question, I was like, wow, this project that I'm working on starts tomorrow. And it is a pilot. And this is a grant that one of my physicians, Kelly Michelson, received. And she decided to, and she's working with the advocate group and then our Laurie Children's Hospital. And this is to work on improvement on setting up and arranging family care conferences. So they did a pilot, they pulled a lot of information out of people, out of patients' medical records to see if, first of all, we came up with some criteria. Why we think somebody should have a care conference. So we came up, if they were there more than 3 days in ICU, this is only for the ICU, if they had more than three or more specialists that were seeing them and involved in the care, then we kind of feel that maybe they need a care conference. So they went back a year and looked at these people who are patients who already have these criteria, did they have a care conference or not? And if not, why didn't we give them a care conference? Did they come back as a readmission? And so there were some areas that we did not, the outcome was we did not have a lot of care conferences. And so we feel that maybe this could have prevented the readmission. Maybe families would have understood the care of their child better. So we're doing this starting tomorrow. And there's a group that will be looking in the medical records, seeing if there's 3 specialists, seeing if the patients is here more than 3 days. They will contact me. I will go in and meet with the family, have a discussion, explain what this project is all about, what the purpose of a care conference is. If they agree to the care conference, then we talk about, try to get the idea of what they want to have discussed at the care conference, because we always want to meet the family needs. So after they tell me what they want to discuss at the meeting, I asked them, who you want at the table? And so I will be pulling together this care conference. And after the care conference is done, then the families will receive a survey prior to discharge. And we will also make sure we document those who met the criteria but refused the care conference. So we're hoping that this pilot will identify where we can improve it. And if we have the right criteria, and if we need to add more criteria to have a successful care conference and a successful discharge.
That is an awesome project. Talk about really taking patient-centered care to the next level. That's impressive. I'm looking forward to seeing another article on that one.
Yes, and some data. We're going to be pulling data and metrics. So I'm excited, and that's why I wanted to share that one with you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Tell me a little bit about the article that you and your colleagues wrote, though.
So when I was asked to put an article together, there's so much out there that you can write about, but I just sat down one Saturday night and just start writing. And it's amazing how you can write one line and you can just keep on writing. I thought actually I was going to have a hard time putting something together. And but it just free flowed. I talked about how uh being in case management for 20 years, how it started out from the beginning and where we're at today. And so when I first started in case management, we had 10 case managers. And so it was one case manager for each unit. You had 20-bed unit or 25. The Children's Memorial Hospital is much smaller than Laurie Hospital. So we didn't have a lot of case managers, but we did both roles together. We did the UR piece and we did the case management discharge planning. So within those years up until now, insurance companies are asking for more frequent clinical reviews. So we used to do clinical reviews once a week. Now they want every other day. So when we moved to the large hospital, almost was 280 something beds, we could not handle all of that work. We had consultants come in and they recommended that we need to do every 2-day reviews because the insurance company was asking. They recommended we need to work on weekends. We were only working on Sundays and not Saturdays. They recommended we still need to be working on we need to work on holidays. We were not working holidays. So from the beginning of case management in my journey, it has changed dramatically that we were pushed from the back of the spectrum to the forefront. And we were like the gatekeepers. And we began to become the face of Laurie Children's Hospital financially, you know. And after we showed our worth as a case manager, then we were able to get more case managers. Then we were able to split up our model. So we hired nurses for UR and we have the discharge planners. We even now have a denial team. So we work on all hospital denials. We have physician advisors now. We started out with one physician advisor. Now, Dr. Goodman has a team of physicians now. We're doing code 44s now, which we never heard of code 44 in the pediatric world. They're looking at 2 midnight rules. We never had that before in pediatrics. So we are now catching up, I believe, with the adult world now. And I think we are probably head of other pediatrics now, hospitals. So that's what the article is about. And being able to do the impossible is because we feel like every day we come in, we have a challenge. And everything is not easy, but we make it happen. We do tie those bows up and we send those kids home. And we can see a smile on their faces. It has been a challenge. We even have also an international case manager team. So because we get patients from all over the world. So they focus on the international, work with the ambassadors. So we have so much more than we had when I started in 2001 in case management.
That's such a great story. Thank you so much for sharing that. So you've been in case management for 23 years?
20 years in case management.
20 years in case management. So how has being a member of CMSA Chicago benefited you and your career?
So first of all, being a member of the CMSA, it has allowed me to meet some amazing people. I go to work every day and I know my work. I do what is expected of me. But when it comes to my professional development, This is where I get it from, CMSA. I get all the educational forums that you know, I attend the educational forums. I attend the educational dinner meetings, the annual conferences, and this is how I develop as a case manager. I learn all the trends that's going out, that's happening, that you don't hear about on your job. And then I can take all this information and then share it with my colleagues. So CMSA has allowed me to get all my CEs that I need for my nursing license, as well as my case management certification renewal. I just renewed this year in May. And it has great opportunities if you want to be leaders. It gave me an opportunity to become a board member in this year in August, and it allowed me to write that article. I would not have had those opportunities if I was not a part of the CMSA.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much for sharing all of that wonderful, oh, those stories. Just, I could sit and listen to you for hours. It's a great conversation. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Deborah. This has been an incredible opportunity, and I hope that everybody that's going to have a chance to watch this video really takes away as much as I have taken away today.
I can tell you
You almost make me want to change into a pediatric case manager.
You know what? I can tell you every day when I walk into Lori Children's Hospital, I know that's where I should be. I do, and so I have no regrets of sticking to that pediatric uh, career path. And every day I learn something new.
That is incredible. What a joy you are. Thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome. I'm glad